doctor says don't eat a lot of salt, it's bad for you. Salt is not good for you. Well, it's not that salt is not good for you. It is what they do and how the salt comes to be that is not good for you, because it is highly processed, it is bleached, it is stripped of all of its minerals. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm here to bring you guys a Whole Foods haul as you guys requested. So some of the items here that I'm going to show you is things that I absolutely always buy at Whole Foods. Alternatively, you are able to order these things through Amazon, and I think Amazon Fresh will deliver to pretty much all of the US. Let's jump into the video. Please don't forget to subscribe and to share. Like I said before, it's the only way that I can grow my channel is with your support, by you sharing with friends and family, and by you liking this video and also leaving comments. So yeah, thank you for those of you who always watch, and for those of you who leave me comments, I really appreciate it. It definitely makes all the difference. It makes me feel like I'm actually doing something good for you guys, and it gives me the motivation to continue to put out content. The first thing that I always get from Whole Foods is this Maple Hill milk. It's specifically important for me to give Sophia because she does drink anywhere between 16 to 20 ounces of this milk daily. Not only is it important to be organic, but also you should get whole milk. The fat in the milk is good because it's actually full of omega-3. So when you get rid of the whole milk and go for something like fat-free or anything like that, you're actually losing the omega-3. So definitely, especially for small children, I recommend having whole milk organic. And if you can afford it, I would highly recommend to do grass-fed milk, specifically 100% grass-fed milk, as it says here in the card. This one in particular, it's a biggie for me because like I told you guys before, it's really important to me what goes into my kids' bodies. They will eat a Costco pizza here and there. If we go to Costco, it's like their little treat. That is okay, but whatever I'm feeding them here at home on a daily basis, multiple times a day, I'm gonna want the cleanest possible for my kids. So again, grass-fed whole milk. This is $5.79 and it's half a gallon. Next thing that's a must in our household from Whole Foods is going to be the kale. I really do prefer the dino kale, black kale. What else do they call it? Anything that's a legume or lettuces, they do have to be organic. This is heavily sprayed, and that's the reason for that. So our kale usually always comes from Whole Foods. This is anywhere between, depending on what sales they have, it can be anywhere between $1.79 to $1.99. I love this brand, Siete. Look, it comes from a Mexican family, okay? So I love it. The story is really nice. The ingredients are really clean and it tastes delicious. It is a little pricey, I will say. So on this day that I went to Whole Foods, it was actually on sale for $5.99 or $5.79 for 8 tortillas. So that's why I got it. Usually is $7.99. So it is pricey. Makes the best breakfast tacos in my opinion. I love my breakfast. If you guys follow me on Instagram, again, you guys already know that breakfast is very important for me. But anyway, my favorite one is a cashew flour tortilla, but they haven't had cashew in a while. Maybe it's discontinued. I'm not sure. I wouldn't know why. But I tried the chickpea one, the almond, and then I tried the cassava. By the way, Trader Joe's does have a dupe for that. So if you guys don't have access to a Whole Foods and it's easier for you guys to go to Trader Joe's, then definitely pick up a tortilla there. But do read the ingredients because some of them will have bad ingredients like fillers and things like that. The next thing, which is like a must, this and the feta cheese from Trader Joe's. Gosh, I know this is a Whole Foods video, but this is like something that will always be in my fridge. So this is the pasture raised Vital Farms eggs. They are pricey, okay, I will say. So definitely if you live in a house, I would highly recommend just getting chickens. If I had the space for it, I would absolutely get chickens. If you have space, if you have a house, if you have the yard, if you have the passion for it, right? Definitely get yourself some chickens. You can also, there is a website, if I can remember, I'll link it down in the description box. There is a website where you can put in your zip code. It's never worked for me, by the way. I know other people have used it, but something about my internet, or I don't know what's going on, but I've never been able to actually get a list of all of the places places here in California locally where I can go and pick up pasture eggs. So there is farms that will sell you the pasture raised eggs. So you can do that, or you could just go to Whole Foods and get the Vital Farm eggs. Trader Joe's also sells pasture raised eggs. The only thing with Trader Joe's is that they're not organic. So I do recommend them being organic. Otherwise, they do get a supplement feed, which is like corn and things like that, and that feed can be GMO unless it's organic. So that's why I say it's important to get organic. Sometimes they have sales. Sometimes Vital Farms themselves will issue out coupons that you can just print from online, like $2 off or $1 off. So you can do that. I always look out for that. And I also always look out for the sales. Whole Foods can have really good sales, and whenever I'm even more restricted in budget, then I just buy the non-organic ones from Vital Farms, which are still really good as long as they're pasture raised. Like I said, it tastes better, it's better for the environment, it's better for your body, and if you have small children, you already know how I feel about that. Next thing is going to be the Mary's Gone crackers. These crackers are very clean as far as the ingredients, so I usually make homemade hummus for the kids. So this is a really good cracker to use. The kids don't care for it too much because it's just loaded with a bunch of seeds, and they can be a little picky because they're toddlers, but for my husband and I, these are really good crackers. They're super clean, super healthy. So I recommend those. I told you guys before, especially for kids, I want to minimize the amount of processed food. I prefer not to give it to them, but a lot of the times they won't have fruit or whatever it may be, and they still need to fill up their bellies. So instead of giving them a Cheeto or some Cheez-Its, I get these Annie's organic cheddar bunnies. I recommend them because they're very clean as far as the ingredients. They're not as clean because it's still a processed food. So just keep that in mind, that any processed food is gonna have exactly that, some type of process. Again, if we're gonna feed them something like Cheez-Its, we might as well find something better like these Annie's crackers. If we go to a restaurant and there's really not much that the kids can eat, I will order them mac and cheese. I'm guilty of that. But if we are home, I normally do not make mac and cheese for the kids. Only on days that it's like an emergency that I will do it. And don't get the stuff from the blue box. I know what I'm telling you, because it is filled with chemicals and a bunch of stuff that you really don't like. If you really knew exactly what each ingredient of those were, you would really not want it in your kid's body. But anyway, this one here has organic pasta. So I told you guys before, for pasta, it is really important for you to buy organic because the wheat is usually sprayed with pesticides and chemicals, and a lot of those pesticides and chemicals are carcinogens, are known carcinogens, so beware of that. So this is an organic pasta, and it also has organic dried cheddar cheese, and it doesn't have anything that I would be concerned about my kids eating. So I really recommend this one here. Is really clean. It's the organic grass-fed. Another processed food that my kids do eat often is Cheerios, but again, the wheat does have to be organic, so I don't get regular Cheerios aside from having some other bad stuff there. So I do get these organic morning oats, and the ingredients are not very bad. It's organic whole, so it's organic whole grain oat flour, organic wheat starch, so not that great. It has some cane sugar, but it's very little. It's just a touch. It has sea salt. It's kind of clean, so I recommend something like this. If your kids like to eat Cheerios, then I would recommend something like that. Of course, they have it as a snack. This is not a breakfast that I give my kids. So Cheerios is not a breakfast. I just want to say the nutritional value is not there. This is just specifically for snacks. Like if they're watching a movie and they want to have a snack, or if it's midday and they need a snack, especially, say for example, Sophia will just have the Cheerios, a small amount. Lucas will have Cheerios and oranges, or Cheerios and bananas as a snack, not as breakfast. Okay, so this is not a meal substitute in my opinion. The other thing that I always get at Whole Foods here is these sanitizing wipes. Another thing here is the organic steel cut oats. So let me just show you quickly. Okay, so the oats also heavily sprayed, right, with these pesticides. So definitely get organic. definitely I recommend you get steel cut because the nutritional benefit of it is much better. I'll put a little description here as to why I recommend it. A lot of times when I'm doing these videos, I'm thinking about a million other things, and I can't remember right off the bat exactly why I get this or all the benefits to it. So I always, like to type it out as I'm editing. I'm usually not worried about anything else other than editing, and so I can just type it out, whatever I remember that the benefit is. But again, the nutritional value and benefit of the steel cut oats is much greater than the rolled oats. However, if you're gonna go from just oatmeal, I would say if you want to up it a little bit more and upgrade a little, then definitely go into the rolled oats. And then if you really want to upgrade, then go to the steel cut oats, but definitely organic. All right, guys. So this I think is like $2 or $3.99, and it is a 24-ounce container here of steel cut oats. And I do get the quick cook, otherwise they will take forever because steel cut oats do take a long time to cook. So definitely get the quick cook. Okay. So another thing that I always get, I know I uploaded a lasagna video recipe. So if you haven't watched that, definitely I encourage you to go and watch that. And I talked about pasta and a little bit more why I like to get legume type pasta or pasta made out of legumes. And I explained all about that there. So definitely go and watch that video next. But the pasta, I find that Whole Foods has the better options for legume pastas. I like to cook with the penne pasta, and I also like to make lasagna. These are the two that I always get at Whole Foods. I did some meal prep yesterday, so I went to Whole Foods yesterday, so this is already open. But this is the green lentil penne, and it does have to be organic. So again, legumes do need to be organic for the most part. So this is made out of lentils, and it is organic. This box, I can't remember, it's something like $3.99. So I think I might be making that really famous Gigi Hadid's penne pasta. I've been making it for months, and I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. The pot is super easy, super fast. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to see that. And the yellow lentil and brown rice. Another thing that I always like to get from Whole Foods is this tomato paste. This is only 79 cents, and it's BPA free, so non-BPA lining. I uploaded a reel of how I make my iced coffee, my daily iced coffee. So one of the things that I include or add to it, sometimes depending on how I'm feeling, I will add condensed milk. Mainly I add condensed milk when I'm making it for my husband, and I make it up at least every other day before he leaves for work. So I make that coffee for him, and I add condensed milk. It's still sugar, right? Because this is just sugar and milk. So it's definitely not the best, but you're definitely upgrading if you're getting organic. And the non-traditional condensed milk, which has a bunch of other unnecessary things. This one is just pretty straightforward. It's literally organic sugar and organic milk, and milk is the first ingredient, which means it has more milk than sugar. So yeah, there's that. Another thing that's a must at Whole Foods is their organic tahini. It is how I make my hummus that we always have in the fridge. The kids love the hummus, so if you're interested in that recipe, again, go visit my Instagram account, give me a follow there, and you can also get the recipe. I normally don't like to use regular flour. We always use almond flour here in the house, just because it's so much better for so many reasons that I've already talked about in the past. But if you must if you prefer regular flour, that's okay. Just make sure that you get something organic that is not a bleached flour. So this one here, the Arrowhead Mills organic spelt flour, I can't remember the price on this one, but like I said, there's certain things that I can't use the almond flour for, or I prefer not to. So this is a really good option. This is a less processed flour, so I recommend that. Another thing that I've already opened because I was meal prepping yesterday is this diced fire roasted tomatoes. I think it's like 99 cents, 28 ounces. And again, tomatoes do need to be organic, so I recommend getting this for the chili that I said I would be uploading a recipe for, and just a bunch of other things. I just made the kids soup, the noodle soup that I told you guys about in a previous video. I just made it, and instead of using regular tomatoes because I didn't have any on hand, I used this. So I always like to keep a couple of cans of this roasted, fire roasted diced tomatoes. One of the most important things in your cooking is the salt. So you always hear, don't eat a lot of salt, right? The doctor says don't eat a lot of salt, is bad for you. Salt is not good for you. Well, it's not that salt is not good for you. It is what they do and how the salt comes to be that is not good for you, because it is highly processed, it is bleached, it is stripped of all of its minerals. I will put anything else I can think of, I will put it down here so that you guys can read more about it. Salt being bleached, being highly processed, highly refined, it really strips it of all of its benefits, all of its minerals too, and actually it doesn't taste very good. So that's why when you eat it in excess, not in excess, but when you add a little bit more than you should to food, if you like things to have a lot of flavor, a lot of the times because it doesn't have any flavor, it doesn't have a good flavor, you tend to add more to just give that extra flavor to your food. But it's really bad for your health. It really spikes up your blood pressure like you have no idea. If you're gonna change anything, guys, definitely if you have toddlers, the processed foods, the Cheez-Its, right, and the chips, the Cheerios, the mac and cheese, those are like big things for children. I highly recommend you making these changes if you have toddlers, because I mean, I told you guys before, a lot of the chemicals, a lot of the colors that are added to give food a more desirable look, it really can change your child's behavior because it is a chemical that they're digesting. So just be mindful of that. Do your research if you don't want to take everything that I'm saying, and you shouldn't, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not an expert in any of this, but this is just based on research that I've done and videos that I've watched from people who are very knowledgeable about these things. But definitely the salt, this is if you don't have children, then you don't worry about those processed foods. But if you don't have children, then you should really worry about everything that I mentioned here. One of the most important that I will mention is this, the salt. Change your salt. Yes, it is pricey. This is 1 pound. This is the small bag of 1 pound Celtic sea salt. Now, this is not the only salt that you can get. You can definitely get the Edmonds sea salt also. You can do that. I've used that, and sometimes depending on what's on sale, so I always look for what's on sale, because this is if I'm not mistaken, $8.99 for 1 pound of salt. So definitely this is not what I would recommend. Like if you need to salt your water for pasta, or a lot of people use salt for other things other than cooking, where you need like a generous amount, I will not recommend you to use this salt for that, right? Because it is pricey. Unless you have the budget for it, then definitely you don't have to worry about that. But in my case, where I have to limit my budget, I only use this specifically and strictly for cooking. If I have to use salt for anything else, I also recommend the pink Himalayan salt. But this particular salt here, it is unprocessed, so you will see here that it has actually a great color. It is unbleached. None of the minerals have been stripped. And another salt that I highly recommend, that I actually use myself, let me grab it, is the pink Himalayan salt. Now you can get this at Trader Joe's, this exact container for $2. The salt that I have in here is not from Trader Joe's. This is from a Costco, so I get like a really large container for a really good deal. I can't remember the price right now. Definitely much cheaper than this. So if you cannot make the change to this, at least make it to this. Although this is more of a finishing salt, this is not great or ideal for cooking. And hopefully I don't have to edit it out if this video is not too long already. I always hear people talking about caldo de pollo, chicken soup. If you are Mexican or just Latino in general, you will get this. Chicken soup. What do we add to chicken soup, especially in the Latino community? Chicken bouillon. That thing has more chemicals and fillers and anti-caking agents than nothing else I've ever seen. It is so bad for you if you have a diabetic at home, if you have high blood pressure, which is really common in my Latino community. Oh my God, it's just poison. throw it out. I have thrown it out of the house many times. My husband bought it again because he's the cook of the house, and I reminded him why I had thrown out the last one, and then he said throw it out, and I said no, I don't want to throw it out, because if I throw it out, you're going to buy it again. And he said, I promise this time I won't buy it again. And I thought, okay, fine. You know, I don't want to impose anything on anyone, and definitely not impose anything on my husband that he doesn't want to do. But I worry about it because my kids love his chicken soup. I love his chicken soup. I don't care. But when my kids eat it, and if they're gonna eat that often, then I do worry about it. And I will tell you, a lot of people have said, well, my mom has told me, if you don't add chicken bouillon to the soup, it's gonna taste different. It's true, because what did I say about the salt? Especially that iodized salt, right? That is like fortified and bleached and stripped of all of its minerals. What did I say about that? There's no flavor to it. This, because still has all of its flavors, all of its minerals. It is not bleached. It still has that very rich flavor. So if you add this to your chicken soup and you omit the chicken bouillon, you won't see the difference. We don't see the difference anymore. We can't tell, and it's not because we're used to it. It's because you can add as much salt as you want, as much of this salt or as much as this salt. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna spike your blood pressure as much as the other one would. And it's gonna make for better tasting food, I promise you. So if you are a cook and you're very passionate about that, switch up your salt. You'll thank me later. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. At the very minimum, I've made you aware, so you can then do your own research, and you'll find that exactly what I'm telling you is true. And there's probably a lot more things that are bad or that are wrong with that regular table salt that we are used to using. So definitely look into that. But oh my God, I think I talked for a really long time about salt, but I am very passionate about it. Organic, plain Greek yogurt, whole milk. This is another thing I told you guys before. So if you watch all of my videos or most of my videos, you'll know that my kids have yogurt for breakfast, maybe 3 times a week. So it's like our quick breakfast. That and oatmeal is like a really quick to go breakfast. And I really recommend you guys getting this organic, plain Greek whole milk yogurt. Again, get it plain. You don't need the sugars, you don't need the fruit, because it's not real fruit, it's sugar. If you want to sweeten it with some honey. I've talked about honey before, so if this is your first time watching a video like this of mine, go down and check out the other healthy food grocery hauls. I talk about honey. There's a whole thing about honey, so if you thought the salt was interesting, the honey is crazy too. And so definitely get it plain, sweeten it with some honey, sweeten it with some fruit. It's just so much better for you. It's so much better for your children. All right, guys, so I think that this is a really long video already. I want to wrap it up by saying a lot of my canned food, I like to get it from Whole Foods. You can also get it from Sprouts, and the reason for that is because Whole Foods and Sprouts both do have their own brand, and they also have BPA free lining cans, and it's really important. Also, what I like about Whole Foods, nothing in particular here that I grabbed on this day, but a lot of their canned items from Whole Foods come in a carton box now, so it's way better for the environment. So I really recommend that. Otherwise, after you use these cans, I recommend you rinsing them out and then throwing them in the recycling bin, because a lot of the times we are doing the right thing, we are recycling, but if your cans are dirty, they're contaminating the recycling, and that recycling is no longer good to be recycled, or it's no longer recyclable. So do keep that in mind. I just thought I threw that in there. Hopefully I don't have to cut this out. This is what I use to make my hummus, and I get it from Whole Foods. This is only 99 cents. Pinto beans, black beans, these are really good for chili, so that's why I get canned beans. And then also, I think after COVID, I think we should all know that we need to have some type of food reserve, and I know that a lot of people think it's dumb and make fun of it, but we're also in California. We're very earthquake prone, so if there were to ever be an earthquake, you want to have, if there were ever to be a big earthquake, we might lose power for a couple of days. You don't know what can happen. I have small children. I need to be prepared as I can possibly be. Of course, at the end of the day, you can be as prepared. You can do whatever you can and be diligent in staying safe and being prepared. But at the end of the day, it's all in God's hands. So of course, I leave everything to the Lord, but also I do what I can within here to be as prepared or not as caught off guard as one would normally be. Canned goods here, which is lentils, just to kind of make it faster, is lentils. I have 1 can of wild caught salmon. Again, I told you guys about salmon. It does have to be wild caught, otherwise you're eating farm salmon and its nutritional value is not really there. And then I have some tomato sauce, so it's always good to have some tomato sauce, and it has to be organic. So that's what I have here for the canned goods, and I think that's going to be it, guys. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. It is my goal, and I'm very passionate about teaching people in my community and people around me what I have learned. I'm not extreme wealth of knowledge, but whatever I do know, I always believe in just sharing what you know. I'm really trying my best and making small changes here and there to be more mindful about everything, and that eventually is going to include what I put in my body also. Although I do care about what I put in my body. Of course, I love cake. So if I'm eating cake, I know that I'm eating all these like bad sugars. Ooh, which remind me. Okay, so 2 other things. I don't always bake cake or really sweet stuff, but if I ever am gonna need frosting, this is not the best, but it's definitely better than anything else that you can get at the regular grocery store. This is cupcake frosting, or cake frosting, is from Simple Mills. I bought this because I'm planning on making some cookies with the kids and also decorating them. So I also bought this like pink sugar, which is colored with a veggie. So it is colored with beet juice extract. So just be aware of that. A lot of the times when we buy these food coloring or like colored sprinkles, it has a bunch of chemicals and petroleum and all those things, so be aware of that. That's gonna be it for today, guys. I will leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to continue to see videos like this, please make sure that you share, that you subscribe, that you like this video, that you leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you will be making the change, and if you are making the change, let me know what you're going to be changing it to. Are you going to be changing it to the pink Himalayan salt, or are you going to be changing to the Celtic? Sea salt is not Celtic. I always say Celtic, but it's not. It's Celtic. That's the correct pronunciation. Thank you so much for watching.